Hi dancers! As part of our health and wellness tips, I would like to tell you a little bit about the benefits of dance as the best exercise that an older adult can take part in. So we know that a wealth of studies have shown that physical exercise helps older adults. It helps you keep your mind sharp and your body healthy. Let's talk about the benefits of exercise in a moment. But particularly, there's one form of exercise that many people don't consider, and that is dance. And yet many studies have shown that it's the most effective form of activity as we get older. And let's talk about why. So we all worry about the risk of dementia, and it's shown that regular physical, mental and social stimulation really reduce the risk of dementia. In one study, there was a significant reduction in dementia over 20 years in people who took part in a few different activities: dancing, reading, playing board games, and playing a musical instrument. But of those, only dance has the added benefits of the physical exercise and the social interaction, which helps to prevent motor decline and cognitive decline. So let's break down those three elements: physical exercise, mental stimulation, and social interaction. And let's look at those specifically as regards dance and some other exercise forms. So maintaining your functional fitness, as you know, exercising, helps with so many different things. It can help you maintain and achieve a healthy weight. That's important. An interesting study showed that increases the level of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, it's a mouthful, BDNF, and that's a protein that plays a part in basically the growth and maintenance of neurons, so keeping your brain young. Exercise also slows cell aging, specifically cardiovascular exercise, endurance exercise. So let's talk very briefly about that. Let's talk about our chromosomes. Every single cell in our body has a pair, it has multiple pairs of chromosomes. Imagine these are my chromosomes. And when the cell divides, it splits those chromosomes and we get cell division, and we get two cells out of one. This is happening all over our body. And every time that the chromosomes divide and they split, they lose a little bit of the end cap, just a little part at the end. So along the surface of along the length of the chromosome, there are genes, and those genes tell each cell how to make its proteins and what to do with them. And there's a non-coding portion at the end where there is no genes, there are no genes, just there's something called a telomere. And as we get older, each time that the cells divide, the telomere gets a little bit shorter. The telomere is non-coding genetic material. It doesn't code for a protein. I hope this is making sense. It's a little technical. But why is it so important? Because when our telomeres get shorter, it begins to signal to the cell that the genetic material is deteriorating. And when that happens, it signals to the cell that it should begin the process of cellular death. And that's really, when that begins to happen, our cells don't divide as accurately, and they don't divide as fast. We get a lot of errors, mutations if you like, and then cells don't divide correctly. We don't heal as quickly because of that. So it all comes down to, on that chromosome, the telomere, the little end cap, we really need to preserve those. And guess what? Endurance training is one of the best exercise forms to both maintain the telomeres and even increase them. They can even get longer instead of just getting shorter. So that's really good news. A lot of work has been done on this. It's very exciting. So let's talk about the four kinds of elements of exercise that are so important. We just talked about endurance, cardiovascular activity. There's also strength training, stretching, and balance. And they're all parts of an enhanced fitness class. So endurance. Endurance is things like we do it when we're moving in class, when we're getting our heart rate up, when we walk, when we dance, cycle, swim, or run if you're still that way inclined. And all of this improves your cardiovascular health, which it decreases your chance of developing heart disease. It helps you control high blood pressure. It helps you control your cholesterol levels. And as I said, it can even increase the telomeres on the ends of your chromosomes. So endurance training, cardiovascular work, very, very good for you. The other part of exercise is strength training. You know, if you've taken my class, we always do weightlifting. We have a weightlifting routine. And we can also use, we don't use bands, but some classes will use those stretchy rubber bands. And that helps to build and preserve muscles so that they don't get the age-related decline that we see as we get older. It helps improve your muscle function and your muscle tone. And that's done just by lifting weights. Very essential part of training. Stretching, and you could do dance or yoga, would help be wonderful forms of stretch training. They increase your flexibility, which decreases your chance of injuring yourself. That's a hugely important thing as we get older. Stretching also increases our blood flow and the oxygen going around our body, so that helps heal injuries. So all of this makes you feel younger. Think about when you wake up in the morning and you feel all stiff, and you give yourself a good stretch, and instantly you feel a little younger, a little more upright, and more able to go about your day. Flexibility, very important. You'll also notice if you've taken my class, I weave throughout my class balance. This is a hugely important thing that is really integral to dancing, specifically to dancing. We work so much on balance. We step across our body, we stand on one leg, all of those elements of balance. They give you better stability, which reduces your risk of falling, and that gives you fewer injuries. So exercise, the endurance, the weights, the stretching, and the balance. Really important elements of keeping us feeling younger and more able to cope with whatever comes our way. Then let's talk a little bit about mental stimulation. Now this is something you can get from board games, musical instruments, and reading, but also from dance. Mental stimulation, such as dancing, increases the blood flow and the oxygen to your brain, and that can improve your memory. That's a very important thing as we get older. Dance is also very creative, so it stimulates parts of the brain. The musical rhythms that we deal with, because dance always has music, those rhythms can stimulate certain parts of your brain known as the reward center, and that can release dopamine. That's a It's a chemical that you might have heard of that's in our brain. And when you have more dopamine, it makes you feel happier and you have an increased sense of well-being. So all of these things come about through dancing. I think one of the most important things that people don't state enough is how much dance improves your brain function because of the problem-solving aspect. So think about this. If you've ever taught a very young child to do something, they'll want to do something symmetrically, so that whatever they do on the right, they do on the left. But if you cross over that center line of the body, like we do, crossing from one side of the body to the other, that actually highlights whole areas of the brain that don't otherwise get stimulated. The kind of problem solving that we do when we're doing coordination, upper body and lower body, or the coordination exercises that we do, all of these really stimulate the brain. Balance, and the nuances of resistance required to give a certain dynamic, that's unique to dancing. We can take our hand across, we can press, we could float, or we could wave. And each of those movements is going to require a different set of problem-solving skills in the brain. How much pressure and resistance to put into those muscles to create the dynamic that we're looking for that particular movement. So that mental stimulation really helps to keep you younger longer, and that's specific to dance. The third area, so exercise, mental stimulation, and social interaction. Well, dancing for aerobic fitness is just fun. So that's a social activity where we meet other people. We hardly ever dance alone. We usually dance with other people. And it's an aesthetic activity. There are cultural cues and interactions between people that make dance really vital. The kind of intellectual and social development that is involved in dancing, all of that enhances our ability to feel younger. Another area is emotional cueing. So people get very passionate about dance or about the challenge of learning a complicated step. And so that kind of interaction really is very compelling socially. There's a huge achievement if you master a very challenging step. So all of these things are social interaction cues that are very specific to dance. So when we look at physical exercise, mental stimulation, and social interaction, all of these things we know are good for us. And yet why is it so much of the time we don't exercise? Well, one of the things that keeps us going back to an exercise class frequently is the social interaction. You think that we might be seeing our friends, seeing people and interacting and getting a bit of social stimulation, especially if we live alone. Many older people do live alone. And then of course there's the peer pressure of showing up week after week at that class so that our friends know that we're okay, we know they're okay. These are really vital things that take part in a class. So you don't just have to take Enhanced Fitness with Sean. You could take a line dance class or ballroom dance. You could take Zumba Gold or Zumba Chair, which is a seated dance form. So if you're stuck in a chair, that's a great way to exercise. There's another program called Silver Sneakers. You might be eligible to take classes with that. And then of course there's Enhanced Fitness. Not all Enhanced Fitness instructors will teach dance as part of their class, but I do, because I'm a dance instructor, and I really think that you'll get the most health benefits possible out of taking a wonderful class like Enhanced Fitness with Sean. Okay, everybody, take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you here next time with another health and wellness tip. Remember to try my other playlists. Each one is like a 1-hour class in the studio. And check out my other videos, including health and wellness tips, product reviews, and more. See you soon.